refresh lah. Video lain yang tengok. Hi, we are waiting for a few more people to join in. My name is J.R. Victor. Hi, if you're there. If you're there, just say hi to me over the Facebook so that we know that who's joined in. Hi, if you have joined in, just say hi to me over the Facebook. I am J.R. Victor, waiting for a few more people to join in the webinar, and we'll start very soon. Hi, if you're there, just say hi to me over the Facebook so that we know who's there. I'm J.R. Victor. Just say hi to me over the Facebook so that we know who's joined in. And once we have a few more people joining in, we will just start the webinar. Good afternoon to all of those who are there. Hi Aswan, how are you? Welcome to the webinar. And welcome Shifa. Hi to you. Just say hi to me so that when all those who are in, we will start. Hi Ubi. Hi to you. Just say hi to me and you'll know who's in there and who has logged in and seeing this video. Welcome to today's masterclass. Please just say hi to me. Today I'm going to talk to you about something very interesting about design thinking. What is design thinking? You'll learn shortly. It's about innovation. Hi Wong Lai. Hi. So just say hi to me in the Facebook so that we know who's in. Well, as I was mentioning, we are going to talk about something very interesting, why HR personnel should embrace design thinking. For all those who just joined in, my name is J.R. Victor and I'm from Innovare Solutions. I'm going to talk to you about something very interesting, that is about design thinking, a methodology for innovation. Good afternoon everyone. Just hang on there. While waiting for some of those to join in, you may be wondering what we're going to talk about today, and it's about a methodology of innovation. Innovation is something very, very important and critical in all our lives. It affects all aspects of our lives. But today I'm going to talk about why it's important for HR personnel in organization, HR leaders, and those who are heading HR departments, and even training and learning departments. So it's going to be an interesting topic, and we are also going to be talking a little bit about how design thinking can transform HR. So hang on there. Okay, so good afternoon to all of you. We will start off with the webinar content today. Once again, to all of those who are present there, my name is J.R. Victor. I am from Innovare Solutions. I have been doing innovation, design thinking and operational improvement for the last 16 years, and I am a certified lean master and also an innovation practitioner, and I've been in the consulting and training industry for the last 15 to 16 years, and I've been in operational management for the last 26 years. I have trained more than 10,000 over people throughout Asia as well as in US and Europe. And today I'm going to talk about something very, very interesting, something which is picking momentum in Malaysia, something which a lot of people are inquiring and also learning and doing. That is a methodology of innovation called design thinking. So you are going to hear from me why design thinking is important for HR personnel, HR leaders. Well, all those who are there, once again, my name is J.R. Victor. At the beginning of this session, I would like to let you know that I am going to give a reward for those who have been paying attention for every single word that I say today in this 30 minutes webinar. So if you pay attention, I will ask a question right at the end, and if you're able to answer that, then there is going to be a free complimentary 3-hour session for your organization. Okay, so please stay tuned. Listen carefully to everything that I say, and these are very interesting and important topics on design thinking. Well, once again, I would like to thank first of all Learning Matchmakers Sendiri and Berhad. They have been doing this 30-minute masterclass over the Facebook and over the internet for some time, and they are also matchmaking class trainers with organizations, and I thank them for the opportunity given to me for this webinar. So today, an interesting topic. The topic is why HR personnel, HR leaders, learning and development leaders should embrace design thinking. So I'm going to break it into two parts. First is, I am going to share with you why innovation and design thinking is important at all, regardless whether it's HR personnel or anyone at all. Next, I'm going to talk about why design thinking is important and is a crucial subject to enter into and a skill to acquire, especially in HR. Well, You all know the world today is a VUCA world, they call it. VUCA, you'll be wondering, what is VUCA all about? VUCA basically stands for a world which is very volatile, very uncertain, very complex, and very ambiguous. In a world like this, everything keeps changing. No one is certain what is going to happen next. So it is at this kind of a situation that people need to be very careful on what we do in our organizations. We cannot just stay on just doing the things which we have been doing for years before and think that it is going to be sufficient for an organization to progress ahead. In a VUCA world, we have to be one step ahead of everything that is taking place. And this is where innovation becomes very, very critical. Innovate to the extent that we are able to face the challenges of a VUCA world. That's one of the most important reasons why we need to innovate. The second important reason is we are facing a kind of a revolution like no other time in history. Now this revolution, some call it the Industry 4.0 revolution. Now that affects the way people manufacture things and the way people do things and sell to others in industries. Not only Industry 4.0, there is also another revolution which is taking place. We can call this as the digital revolution. And today we have another revolution which is setting in, which is also complementing to what the digital revolution is taking, and also the Industry 4.0. This is what we call as artificial intelligence. So giving all these scenarios, what is going to be the future of people in the world? If everything a machine is going to be doing, if everything a computer is going to be deciding, what is going to be the role of human beings? Well, this is where many analysts, many experts, including people like Jack Ma, they claim that in the future, people need to become more creative because problem solving can be handled by machines. Many decisions can be done by machines and computers. But people need to still be there in order to be creative and also in order to empathize and in order to feel what's going on. Now these are the areas where I can say that innovation comes into place. Because in order to innovate, you need to be creative, you need to empathize, and you need to feel. So now that's the second reason why design thinking and innovation becomes an important need in today's business scenario, in today's world scenario, and even in today's life scenario. Now the third reason, everybody needs to improve. From Stone Age, we have come to an age where things are being done to us in a technology we don't even understand. Well, this is what we call as improvement and progress. Now, the very fact that I'm wearing this spectacle, this is a result of innovation. Somebody saw a need for people to see clearly when their eye has something wrong. Now, progress like this is crucial in people's life. So because of this, innovation becomes very, very important. So innovation has many more reasons why we should embrace it. But I am just giving you 3 important reasons. Number 1, because we are in a VUCA world. A world which is ever changing, ever complex, ever ambiguous. Number 2, that we are facing a revolution where machines are taking over, data driven, digitalized, and artificial intelligence is making a lot of decisions. In this scenario, we need to innovate in order to be ahead and in order to progress. And the third thing is, we all are in a need to progress continuously, so that our lives become easier, simpler, and we can continue to become value-giving people and value-experiencing people in the world. So if these are the 3 main reasons why we should innovate, the topic of innovation becomes very, very crucial in our lives, and more so in the business world, and more so in organizations. Now this is where design thinking comes into play. You may be wondering, when I say design thinking, is it some kind of a methodology where a group of people sit in a room in front of a computer or in front of a certain robot and are designing something new for the world? Well, that's called design. But when I talk about design thinking, I'm talking about something much, much more wider and much, much more normal and acceptable to the layman. Design thinking is actually a way of thinking and behaving where it can turn any person who can just think logically to become an innovator. An innovator who can produce things which are new and groundbreaking. An innovator who can improve processes. An innovator who can come out with solutions for people's lives. An innovator who can come out for solutions in people's organizations. Now that's what design thinking is all about. So design thinking is actually an innovation methodology. So let me just explain to you how design thinking works. What are the characteristics of design thinking and what elements it contains? First, the characteristics. Design thinking is actually what we call as a human-centered innovation. A human-centered methodology for innovation. Why we say it human-centered? Because in design thinking we always begin with the user, who may be a customer or a user of any product, service or anything at all that interests him or her, and we end the innovation process with the user and the customer. It's always looking at what a person, a user needs, not what a technology needs, not what a machine needs, not what a process needs, but what a user needs. That's the first characteristics of design thinking. Now the second characteristic of design thinking is, as I mentioned, in a world which is ever changing, the only kind of people who can continue to survive and progress are people who are creative, people who are able to be empathizing on the needs of others. Now design thinking is a methodology which teaches people to be able to empathize the needs of users, and it teaches people to think creatively and behave creatively. And that is the second element of design thinking. Well, some more people have joined in. Hi Michael, hi to you. I'm J.R. Victor here. I've been just talking about design thinking and why design thinking is important in our lives. Now, the third characteristics of design thinking is it is a methodology which uses both lateral and linear thinking philosophies. Because it's using both lateral and linear thinking philosophies, it produces very, very diverse and creative solutions for people. Typically, what people use in order to think to solve problems is what we call as critical thinking, or maybe even linear thinking. But in design thinking, we don't only use such thinking, but we also use lateral thinking. So we use both our left brain and a right brain. So it's unique. Next characteristics of design thinking. Design thinking can never be done by one person alone. It cannot be done by two persons sitting alone in a room or sitting in front of a computer. It is a collaborative effort. Design thinking is always done where a group of people come together, a group of people give in what they know, what they feel and what they think about a certain user's needs, and all this is collectively taken in and then come out with great ideas, great solutions for people. And one of the last characteristics, of course there are many characteristics, one of the last of the important characteristics of design thinking is design thinking allows the users or the people who embrace it to have a certain kind of a courage and playfulness when they do design thinking. You know, as adults and people who have grown in this world, we seldom like to play, but only when we are playing we become more creative. Only when we are playing we embrace that childhood inquisitiveness, the childhood in us which was ever creative in our minds. So design thinking is a methodology which embraces this, a courageous playfulness in its process. Well, these are some of the characteristics of design thinking. So how do you do design thinking, you may be wondering. Well, fantastic characteristics. So how do you do design thinking after all? Now, design thinking is done in 5 important stages. And what are these 5 important stages? We can call each one of these stages is an element of design thinking. As I mentioned earlier, it always starts with the user and ends with the user. So, in design thinking, we always begin by empathizing with users. In an organization, what does the user of a service in an organization want? If you are from HR, who are the users of HR services? What do the users of HR want? Seldom do they tell you very clearly what they want. We should have the ability to empathize, feel and understand and capture what they want by using certain methodologies. And this is the first stage of design thinking, empathy. Now, after you have empathized, the second one is you may find out a user or group of users may have 101 needs, 101 things which you can put yourselves into their shoes. The second stage is where we clearly define what of the user's needs you are going to solve through your innovation. This is the stage which we call as define. Step 1 is empathy, step 2 is define. Now the third step is, once you have defined clearly what exactly you want to do in order to solve the problems of a user, the third step is to collaboratively, with a big team who joins in as the design thinking team, to come out with various ideas, various possible solutions on how we can solve this user's needs. That is the third stage of design thinking, the ideation stage. So first we have empathize, second we have define, third we have ideation. We have maybe 20 ideas, 30 ideas, 50 ideas, even 100 ideas. The more the better. But then we cannot be implementing every one of those 100 or 200 ideas to solve a people's problem. So that's where we zoom in once again and try to figure out what exactly the user is going to feel comfortable with. What exactly is going to give an experience to the user where his problems are no more going to be there. This is what is achieved by the fourth step of design thinking, which we usually call as prototyping. Prototyping is to give an experience of the user even before you design a solution for the user, to have a first-hand feeling of how your service, how your product, or how even your process is going to look like once you have innovated. So this is the fourth stage of design thinking, which we call as prototype. You know, it becomes very expensive once you change a process, change a service, or even design a new product, and then you find out that the user is not happy with it. It doesn't solve the needs of the user. That's where prototyping becomes very, very effective. That's where in a VUCA world, when you don't even know what is going to be the need of the people, prototyping can give them an experience even before you make things and you change services and processes. And the final step in design thinking is what we call as present the prototype to the user. Get the feedback from the user on their experience. Observe what the user is doing. And finally, you come out with a refined method of doing your own product or service. Well, more have joined in. Ridwan, hi Ridwan, okay. So, welcome to the 30-minute webinar. I am J.R. Victor here. Well, I told you what is the process of design thinking. Now I am coming into the main part of today's webinar. This is something very interesting. Why should HR personnel should be interested in design thinking? Now I am going to give you 3 main important reasons why HR personnel should be interested in design thinking. Number 1, HR is somehow the custodian of an organization's excellence, because an organization's excellence depends on the people who manage an organization. Now if HR can make sure that all their people have the capability to design, the capability to innovate, the skills to face the challenges of the VUCA world, then you are actually becoming a custodian of not just excellence, a custodian of the people who are able to innovate and take the organization to the next level. Now that's why design thinking is very critical for HR organizations. Now number two, there is another reason why design thinking is particularly important for HR. HR of its own has so many processes, so many things to look at, so many areas to look into. You hire, you fire, you inboard, you look into the well-being of employees. You also make sure that employees' growth and knowledge is taken care of, training is taken care of. Now each one of this process is subjected to innovation. In a world of today, each one of this process is already changing. There are different ways of people interviewing and hiring. There are different ways of people getting rid of people who are not needed further in the organization, so that you are having the people whom you need. There are different ways of training people. Now all this will have to take place suited to the current day's changes. All this will have to take place in order to meet the changing needs of the users, the employees. Now that's where design thinking becomes an important tool in HR. I have known people, I have known companies who have totally transformed their HR processes, totally transformed the way they do business with the employees, totally changed the way they train their employees. Today, you know that one of the key things that we can easily think of is, from a traditional training, we are going into online training. But design thinking organizations just don't look into online or just don't look into digital. They go deep into what is needed by the user in an organization, the employees, and they improve and they innovate on their processes accordingly to meet this demand. Now the third thing why HR becomes an important area where design thinking becomes important is where you can make sure that your organization is embracing a culture. Now nobody else can make sure that an organization is embracing a culture unless the people who are in charge of the growth, the knowledge, the skills of the people in the organization. Now what kind of a culture we are talking about? A culture of creativity, a culture of innovation, a culture of progress, a culture of collaboration, a culture of courage, a culture of playfulness, and yet improving the organization at large. Now this is the kind of culture design thinking provides, and it is HR who can spearhead this to an extent where the organization can feel its impact to the full. Well, now how does this affect organizations? I have seen organizations saving millions of dollars because of the way they have changed the process of hiring, the change of the process of onboarding, changing the process of even getting the right employees for the right reasons, for the right purpose in an organization. Well, all these are just outcomes of design thinking. But more important than outcomes, we are interested more on the creativity which we need to move into as we move into this VUCA world. Well, these are some of the key pointers of why HR needs to go into design thinking. HR needs to go into innovation. Well, of course, this webinar can go on even for hours, but in 30 minutes, I want to just bring to you the importance of design thinking, especially in HR, because it all begins with the people and it all should continue with the people. Always, it's people who matter in an organization. Machines are an output of people's creativity. Processes are output of people's creativity. And products and services are output of people's creativity. And HR are the ones who are able to manage people's thinking and creativity. So I would like to end my input here. I'm sure you would have taken notes. I'm sure you would have heard about it. Now I'm going to open up for you to ask questions maybe. Next 5-10 minutes we'll open up for questions. You can type in your questions and we will see what is it that you are asking which you need to need more clarification? You just type in your questions and I'll be able to see it on the screen over here. So please give your questions, just type a question, and don't forget, I will have a question if you don't have a question. If you are able to answer, the first person who have registered for this webinar and who has answered the question correctly will be getting a free complimentary 3-hour design thinking workshop at your organization. Believe me, it's thousands of dollars worth, but you're going to be exposed through that 3 hours. You may be able to learn how you can transform your own HR organization or processes. So, what are the questions you have? Just type it out so that I can see it in your screen. Design thinking is an important concept. Design thinking is a process where people work collaboratively. Design thinking is a process, is a philosophy, it is a methodology, it is a way of innovating which can transform HRs. So do you want to know more about it? Do you want to explore on it? Okay, so we are coming towards the end of our webinar today. I'm sure you had some information with you, and what will be the best, that's Wong Lai, thanks Wong Lai for this question. What will be the best way to start design thinking in an organization? Well, the best way to start in an organization, I believe, is where you take a group of people from across departmental force. It could be from HR, it could be from operations, it could be from any department, all walks of life. Leave technicalities out of it. Look into something which is extremely crucial for the growth of the organization, growth of the department maybe, and try this design thinking to solve the problem which is going to make the organization or the department much more appealing to its user. Now, if we were to take HR itself, you may want to look at some of the key processes in HR which you can transform. Do a piloting, and you will find out that in this piloting, using a design thinking approach, you will be able to come out with innovative ways, innovative methods, and solutions which are going to be appealing to the user within days or weeks, not necessarily months. And it is going to come from the ordinary people from your department without actually getting in specialists, technicians, experts, or even engineers, or even educated people in a certain field to come and do designing for you. And when you are able to showcase that results, that will be the best way to start. That will be the best way to show that anyone can innovate. So, anyone can innovate. Should design thinking be easier to understand by analytical people or creative people? What's your opinion? Well, as I mentioned, design thinking uses both analytical and creative way of thinking. Now, one of the unique things about design thinking is it has a set of tools. It has a set of methods in each of these 5 stages. Now, the tools are so simple as if I were to tell you, I give you 10 boxes. Fill in the box. That's all you need to know. Fill in the 10 box. And that's a tool. You fill in the box. That's the analytical part of thinking. But if I were to tell you, you can fill in the box with anything you like, then you put the 10 box maybe with 10 different kinds of ideas on how you can solve a problem. Or maybe 10 different thought process which is running through your mind. Now what you have done? Using my simple analytical method of filling in the box, you have given me 10 different ideas of solving a problem. Now, design thinking is something like that. Every single stage of this design thinking, the 5 steps, have simple methodologies like this. I tell you what to do, you do. But the moment that you do it, you are actually contributing to something greater, something bigger. You're contributing to creativity. So, creativity is something in all of us. the tools and the methodology just takes it out from us. Well, there's one more question. We know that HR nowadays is cracking their head to become more innovative and generate creative ideas. How HR personnel able to overcome this situation? Do design thinking. That's the answer. Well, you know that HR could be the starting point of design thinking in any organization. If HR can do it, any other department in an organization can do it. Because every department in an organization somehow becomes a user for HR. So just consider, who are your users? What one solution that you're going to provide for your users which is going to be breakthrough, which is going to make their lives easy, which is going to make your process much more easier, then you are doing design thinking. So you don't have to crack your head in order to do design thinking in HR. It's just a matter of employing the 5 simple steps with the tools that come along with it, and just follow the tools and the 5 steps, and you'd be surprised. The last design thinking workshop I held for an oil and gas industry company, the manager came back and said, "Oh my goodness, I couldn't believe that I can be creative. I couldn't believe that I can innovate and come out with a solution with these problems. All I did was follow a step of tools that you were given to me, fill up a set of templates, and out comes a new design, a new process, an innovative idea." Now, design thinking is as simple as that, and it is a simple task which any HR can undertake and show big results. Any more questions? So probably time is running. Okay, there's one more question. What are the questions that will drive design thinking thought? Well, let me just answer that by giving an example. You know, Henry Ford, the founder of Ford Automobiles, he once said, while he was trying to figure out how he can innovate something and give to society which can become something useful for them. And he commented saying that if I had asked people what they want, they would have told me that they wanted faster running horses. Well, you're right. Henry Ford did not create faster running horses. He instead made the automobile and tried to sell the automobile in large numbers. Hence was the birth of the automotive industry as a large volume manufacturing. Well, what exactly Henry Ford was trying to say? Asking the right question is, what exactly a user needs? What exactly a customer needs? And a customer does not tell you that in an obvious manner. Sometimes the customer doesn't even know what exactly he needs. Design thinking somehow uses tools of empathy to ask the right questions, to make the right observations, and to do the right feeling analysis. So much so that you will be able to understand what users needs. So understanding users needs, figuring out what users want is the first step in design thinking, and it is also the first step in solving people's life problems, solving organizational problems. So probably that's the most important question. Okay, so probably we'll come to an end here. So we have come to the end of the 30 minutes webinar. So the question is a very simple question. If you had paid attention, I mentioned about 5 steps in design thinking. The first registered webinar participant who answers that correct in the system, what are the 5 steps in design thinking? I will go through the answer, and the winner is going to get a free 3-hour session on design thinking at your organization. I repeat the question, what are the 5 steps of design thinking? So if you know the answer, You can type the answer in the system and I will be able to see your answers. The first person to answer correctly, and if you have registered, you will be the winner. So I hope this webinar was informative. I hope you would join in for more of such webinars from Learning Matchmakers, because this is a 30-minute opportunity to learn so much more. A 30-minute opportunity to think and learn about so many things which are changing in this world. For instance, like today's topic, design thinking. It is taking the industry by storm, and it is something which is needed by everyone. So has anyone got the right answer? So we'll give you 60 seconds, 1 minute in order to type the answer. If you don't give the answer, I will give you the answer anyway, because these 5 steps are important steps you want to remember. So I will give you the answer if there's no one who knows the answer, or if someone has already given the answer and if it is a correct answer. Someone just gave one of the elements of design thinking. There's 4 more. Give it a try. As you remember it, I can see one of the answers. There are 5 parts to design thinking. There are 4 more. Well, probably we don't have someone who has given the full 5 answers, so I'm going to give away the answer to you. So the next time probably you will win a half-a-day workshop on design thinking, but this time let me give away the answer to you. That will become the end of today's webinar. The 5 important steps of design thinking is: number 1, empathy; number 2, define; number 3, ideate; number 4, prototype; and number 5, present and refine. With these 5 steps, you and I can become innovators. So would you want to try these 5 steps in your HR processes, in your organization? Thank you.